you're working with a coach every day, you're showing up every day, maybe you're doing your logging every day, like we really want you to do. We're having calls, we're talking through all this really wonderful, powerful mindset stuff, and yet they're not doing what they say they want. And I just kind of cracked it down with her, and I was like, listen, I think there's a truth here we're not seeing. And the truth may be you don't really want to do what it takes to get what you want. And she just kind of went, oh, like, what?
Right.
Right? Like, and that's the prickly thing. Like, well, wait a minute. No, I want to get healthy and fit. I want that. I want to feel good. Right, Adam? And you were saying this, like you believe, and I believe it too. Everybody deep down really values their health, really values feeling good day in and day out, right? So what is it? What is it that we are bumping into? All right, Adam, are you ready to light the tinderbox?
I'm ready.
Because
Let's do it.
Yeah, I know. This one feels a little, as we were saying, prickly. I think you used the word sting. And today's video, we are going to help you out there get in alignment, right? And what that really means is get the truth out. We gotta get truthful with ourselves about where we are and what we're doing. And this is because sometimes we bump into these really big kind of sticking points, resistance points, right, Adam?
It's like roadblocks. And I don't know, for some reason when I hear the like getting into alignment, it sounds so hokey. But it's so powerful, like when you actually are honest with yourself. And that's really what it comes down to, because when you're honest with yourself, it helps you get over these mental speed bumps, so to speak, or mental road barriers so you can move forward.
Yes, definitely. And I just want to say, like, this was all born out of a conversation I had recently with a client who was saying she wanted one thing, but pretty consistently her actions were pointing to a different thing, right? And as a client, I know that's frustrating, right? Like, you're working with a coach every day, you're showing up every day, maybe you're doing your logging every day, like we really want you to do. We're having calls, we're talking through all this really wonderful, powerful mindset stuff, and yet they're not doing what they say they want. And I just kind of cracked it down with her, and I was like, listen, I think there's a truth here we're not seeing. And the truth may be you don't really want to do what it takes to get what you want. And she just kind of went, oh, like, what? Right? Like, and that's the prickly thing. Like, well, wait a minute. No, I want to get healthy and fit. I want that. I want to feel good. Right, Adam? And you were saying this, like you believe, and I believe it too. Everybody deep down really values their health, really values feeling good day in and day out, right? So what is it?
Yeah.
What is it that we are bumping into?
And that's what causes cognitive dissonance, right? It's like when you have two conflicting beliefs, two conflicting desires, like you want one thing, but there's also a part of you that wants something else, right? This inner conflict. And we have to, it's called dissonance reduction. We have to reduce that dissonance, that tension somehow. So we rationalize it away, right? And we typically rationalize it away with, I'm too busy, or life is crazy, or we come up with all sorts of reasons and excuses to let ourselves off the hook. And this isn't about letting ourselves off the hook, as we talked about earlier or before, we started shooting. It's more about being honest so you can move forward and kind of hang on to the hook. But the key thing is grabbing onto the right hook, if that makes sense.
Lots of hooks out there. Well, it does. And I think we can kind of pare down to what you mean by that. So getting honest about it is the first step, right? So with this client I was talking about, I said, do you think there's a part of you that, because what it is every week we sort of talk about these plans for her to get some movement in daily, because she says, and she's right, it makes her feel good. Like everything else benefits when she moves.
Yes.
Whether it's morning or evening, she is just a better version of herself. So she understands the benefit. There's a part of her, like you said, that really gets this. I said, okay, but there's a part of you, and you need to be honest about it, that clearly does not want to do it. And she was like, yeah, I think you're right. And so we got to explore that because she was willing to be truthful about it. And I think that's the bigger thing is accepting that there are many facets of ourselves, right? We're not all crazy excited about exercise every single day of our life,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I think so what there is to learn is that there are, frankly, I think only two truths. All right? And I wrote them down, so I want to share them as I wrote them down. The first one is the one that made you go, "Ooh," when we were talking about this. There is a part of you, let me put it this way, truthfully, who does not prioritize your health and your health goals. Yeah, that one hurts. That one hurts. But we got to get okay with that. We got to accept that as a truth, because I do think it is. I think there is. We've got so much going on. It's hard to always prioritize it, right? So that's truth number one. There is a part of us that does not see our health and health goals as priority, okay? Otherwise, if it was daily priority, daily, it would be the very first thing we do. Agree or disagree?
No, I 100% agree. And I think we all value it. We all want it. But, your calendar is your priorities, right? And, if you want to see what someone prioritizes, look at their calendar. Their calendar does not lie, how they spend their time. And I think the challenge is we all have, urgent things that need our attention, right? And they often take the place of the important things that move the lever that help us do everything else better. But yes, I think there is no doubt that's the case, to your point. But I think we all value it, but to prioritize is hard because there's things that come up. Life is crazy. Life is busy. And it's hard because even when you say that, it's like I get defense because there are times there are things that need my attention, right? I do prioritize it, or I do value it. It's so important to me. So anyway, what's the second one?
So before I move on to the second one, though, I do have like a part 1A on truth number one, health. It's likely not our priority for that part of us that day, right? We're not always the same every day. And the part 1A is a lot of us are living with should hanging over us. I should eat a salad. I should exercise for an hour. I should lift weights. I should go to bed on time. Can I just say, living with all these shoulds sets you up for failure. 100%. It sets you up for failure. So the closer you get to accepting that there's going to be parts of you from time to time that don't prioritize your health goals, okay, I can let go of that should. And actually that removes the obstacle we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I hate the word should. Should equals obligation. Obligatory things are never things, we don't, it should be you choose to, you want to.
Right.
And I think even just changing the language of I should to, I choose to, or I want to, or even better, to your point, I don't want to, or I choose not to.
Yes. That is truthful. That's honest. Change always comes from honesty. All right. So if you're looking to change something, you got to get honest with yourself. Really brutally transparent. All right. So truth number two, brutal transparency number two. Hey, maybe your health goals are your priority, right? Like you're not living in shoulds. You're like, I want to make exercise a part of my daily life. So here's what I think is probably happening is the path to create that is not a good path for you, right? Like you either need to dial it back or consider a different path altogether, right? Like maybe you're trying to factor in an hour of a group fitness class every single day of your week, except you travel all the time. Clearly not an okay path. That's just setting you up for lack of success there. So examine your path. And then the other thing you want to examine is your calendar. Right? It's time management. Are you saying no when it serves you best? Are you saying yes to things that serve you best? Right? And that's really a practice in saying no to things that don't move the dial for you. And that's really hard for so many of us. You were talking about all the urgencies, right, Adam?
Yeah, and it's hard. It's so hard because we have life, we have things to manage, we have responsibilities, and it's just. Unfortunately, we let the urgent stuff get in the way of the important stuff, but there is no doubt, and I've seen this time after time for the last 16 plus years, like when we focus on the important stuff, it truly helps us do all the urgent stuff better. It really does. And it enables us to be a better version of ourselves, but yet we can feel overwhelmed. We can feel like, life is crazy, that we're just like, just kind of survival mode. It's hard. I get it. But I think that's where it comes down to adjusting the path or the plan where it truly is doable. It is manageable. It doesn't feel daunting. You don't have to get in the car for 30 minutes after traveling all day or whatever it might be.
Right, right. So to kind of bring this all back together, there's this cliche. We all know about cliches. They're cliches for a reason. Actions speak louder than words, right? So if you find yourself acting in a way that is out of alignment with your deepest values, right? It would be not self-regulation. You need to examine that. Okay, whoa, here's one of those truths. There's a truth in here I'm not looking at, right? So with my client, she wanted movement every day, but she wasn't doing movement every day. So we had to say, whoop, your actions are saying something different, right? What you do is your truth. So let's look at it. Let's get honest about it. Let's decide if we're going to accept that or if we're going to do something different to change our outcomes. And that's hard because there's lots of facets of us, right?
Right. And I think the work also is in identifying and being honest with yourself about the truth, and then coming up with a plan to work towards what you really want. Not, what was the definition of self-regulation we were just talking about?
It's the ability to act in accordance with one's own deepest values.
Right. And every single one of us values health and fitness. There's no question about that. But the interesting or most interesting part of that definition to me is what happens when we don't act in accordance with that, right? We feel guilt, we feel shame, we feel bad, we feel negative. It spurs all sorts of negative emotions. And typically when we feel those emotions, we kind of remove the source of what is creating those emotions, right? And we've said before, like guilt is a productive emotion. It lets us know that we want something, that we value something. And instead of running away from those feelings, say, all right, well, clearly this is something I want, but something is out of alignment, right? And it's the truth of let's just be honest of what we're willing to do, what we're able to do, what we have the capacity to do.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Brutal transparency, right? Okay, so I think we can wrap it up. I think that was probably a big enough dose for today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's heavy, but I think it's powerful. And if we had one takeaway, it was be brutally honest with yourself and your coach as well, because then they can help you meet you where you truly are, not where you think you should be, not where you want to be, but where you are. And if they know where you are and you're honest with yourself, then they can help you get to where you want to be.
Yes. Yes. You cannot move from where you are until you get honest about it.
Cool.
100%.
Good stuff.
Okay.
As always, Haley, thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And thank you guys for watching. Feel free to email Adam, let him know what you thought of the video, and we'll see you next time.